years ago, there were American tits. Now there's no American tits. Mexican tits. Mexican tits are streaming up the border and no one's stopping it. Fentanyl tits. Fentanyl.
Okay.
One shock and you're dead. Can you believe this? This would never... Unimaginable what's happened to this country.
We're fine, we're fine. Hey, I smelled her tits too. They're great. Everything's great. We're fine now, we were fine then. We're fine. Hey, you're the sucker. I bet I can smell her. I bet I can do it first.
Joe, you're an idiot. Please stop.
Hey, say it to my face.
Those were comedians Adam Ray and Shane Gillis, although if you were listening to just the audio podcast and you didn't get to see it, you probably didn't know that wasn't Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That is a good start for the show today because it's going to be a lot of the craziness related to them and everything else happening culturally because we're just a couple days post an assassination attempt and we thought well, I didn't think so, but I think there was a certain set of people that thought that things would kind of calm down a little bit after that, but it has not happened. I should remind you, this is the Rubin Report. I'm Dave Rubin. It's July 17th. 2024. We're live streaming on Rumble, YouTube, and local. Share, subscribe, tap that notification bell if you have not. And apologies for yesterday for our locals, guys. We did not have a post-game show because I had to jump on to Piers Morgan right after the show. We were a little late for that. We will make it up to you today with a dense and thick post-game show, RubinReport.locals.com. And speaking of going on Piers Morgan yesterday, that is sort of where we're going to set up the show today because I went on, these panels. Piers has these panels of people of all walks of life, all political stripes and everything else. And I do them every now and again, and they often just devolve into just screaming and craziness. And we're going to show you a little bit of that. But I was willing to do it yesterday. Sometimes I say no because it's just like, I've got other stuff going on, or I don't feel like debating a jihadist or whatever. But yesterday I was like, all right, I'll do it because the two people I was told I was debating, I didn't know, it's 4 panelists. I didn't know who else was going to be on my side, so to speak. But the 2 people I was told I would be debating one would be my former boss at the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, who I've had no public back and forth with since leaving the Young Turks back in, 2014, something like that. And then this other guy, Destiny, who's this gamer, kind of non-woke lib or something. We've shown you a couple of clips of him. But I thought, all right, let me just do this. I think that the truth is so on our side right now. We see so many people breaking towards Trump. I think there's the argument that I've been making for a long time that Trump is saving both liberalism and conservatism. I was like, I'm willing to do it. Anyway, I don't want to give away too much. Cenk jumped on with Piers, rambled, and then got off the call before I was even able to chime in. So we were not able to have a little back and forth. Is what it is for those of you that have been watching me for a long time. Anyway, we're going to show you a couple of clips of that, which will set up what really is going on in the country right now, which is that the great realignment is happening right now. We are seeing so many people wake up to the nonsense, see through the lies of the machine, not pay attention to mainstream media, not buy the talking points that the DNC and the Biden team are just disseminating throughout the system. And then we'll connect that to what's going on at the Republican National Convention right now, which is wide support for Donald Trump from a huge variance of different people from, again, all walks of life and everything else. And then we'll connect that to the Democrats who are really getting ready to throw in the kitchen sink. Like they're realizing that the House is worthless at this point and they're ready to, strip the copper wire and everything else. And they're now going to try to change the rules as it pertains to their own convention and nominating Joe Biden, change the rules as Joe Biden is saying, as it relates to the Supreme Court of the United States and how long the justices are allowed to serve, and a whole bunch more. So let's dive in first. I was on Piers Morgan Uncensored yesterday, and Piers brought on this guy, Destiny, again. He's a gamer. I guess he's sort of like a non-woke liberal, which is kind of hard, who's still a Biden supporter. That's sort of a hard thing to find these days. And apparently on some live streams, he had basically said, F the guy who was killed at the Trump rally. So there was the father who was shielding his wife and daughter. during the shooting, and that guy is now dead. Apparently, Destiny said F him and F Trump and any of the people that were there. That sort of kicked off this thing, and you'll see where we're going with it.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th,
violence,
that was
that's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
F the dude, the firefighter guy, Trump, the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am, 100%.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny.
Yeah, repulsive is the right word. I have no doubt you felt that when you heard it too. Like, to have no empathy for someone that got killed. Like, we can all joke about things. We can make fun of Biden. You can make fun of Trump. You can have your opinions about this or that or the other thing. Putting aside that the former president and likely future president was a quarter of a millimeter away from being killed, that a man died defending his daughter and wife. And like, to have no empathy for that is really hard to understand. And that's why I said the broken, I try not to go on like the direct attack route with some of these people, but when they're just like screaming and going over the top on everything, you have to do it every now and again. But that is what I mean about the broken brain part of this. Like, if you can't feel empathy for that, then we are in a really, really dangerous place. Like, what brings us together as Americans at that point? Anyway, we continued to talk about what was going on here, and I was trying to, and I think I did it rather calmly, explain to this Destiny fella that everything the machine puts out has been against right-leaning people for years, so they might be a little distrustful of the system and slightly a little annoyed, and it might be warranted.
Again, you're deflecting.
It's not what
Just as Joe Biden did with Lester Holt on NBC last night, every time he was asked, have you done any soul searching about your own rhetoric, your own ill-advised use of language, he deflected it back to attacks on Trump. And you're doing exactly the same thing with Republicans.
And I will do the exact same thing.
You say Republicans
you want Biden
you say
to
that they are lacking in
comment when Donald Trump was saying Second Amendment people could maybe do something about Hillary Clinton. Like, no, it's absolutely deranged. The double standard that's being asked here is insane. And you heard both of them say it earlier. How much did Donald Trump's rhetoric contribute to the current environment? Oh, not much at all. Like, no, yeah, I'm not going to say anything to these people. Of course not.
You see, Destiny,
oddly unversed in any of the current events that have happened over the last couple of years. First off, politics is downstream from culture, right? And what has happened to our culture in the last 8 years? What has happened to our culture is that the mainstream media has lied about everything, always to the detriment of right-leaning people, whether it is the Russia hoax or COVID or Brett Kavanaugh's a serial rapist or the Covington kids are racist or Jussie Smollett was hoaxed, was lynched, or whether it was very fine people on both sides. Every single lie always goes against right-leaning people. So they are slightly annoyed and distrustful of people like you and other people in mainstream media who lie about literally everything. So perhaps
literally everything, empathy, like biolabs and Nazis in Ukraine, or like mRNA vaccines that are causing 20% excess deaths. There it is.
His rhetoric is far more dangerous than I've ever heard anything that Donald Trump said. What he's saying right there. Yeah. He is saying you should have no empathy or sympathy for your fellow human. You know, we can all disagree. We can disagree about politics, of course. We can even disagree about how the media frames things and everything else. But he's basically saying show up to a rally and get killed. And that is absolutely psychotic. Okay, I don't think I need to analyze that any further. You're probably along with me on that the machine has lied about so many things, and conservatives, not even conservatives, because I'm not really a conservative, it's sane people are just waking up and pushing back. And that really will get us to the third clip. It's the final clip we're going to show you of this. And this is the point, and this is the thesis of the show. And this has really been probably the thesis of my life over the last decade, that if enough people wake up to the nonsense, we have the biggest movement probably in American political history.
Can you ask
one last question,
Destiny.
One last question for you.
Your characterization of J6?
Destiny, one last question for you.
But
are you pleased that Donald Trump got shot?
Am I pleased? No, absolutely not.
What is your emotion to the shooting?
My emotion is emotionally what? In terms of his personal health, is absolute indifference.
No. Do you condemn the shooter shooting Donald Trump?
No. Not here, not on this program, not in front of these people. Absolutely
You do not condemn a deranged
not in front of
shooter
these people?
shooting
You are
Donald
truly
Trump.
just a child. This is not.
Actually,
this is
it's
not a competition
you know
here.
what,
We're
Charlie?
just trying to be decent human
You know what,
beings.
Charlie? It's not actually the behaviour of a child. It's the behaviour of somebody who's completely lost his moral compass and any sense of decency.
You're right. A child wouldn't even
And I'm going to go to Dave Rubin.
Dave,
let me let Dave Rubin respond to what you've just heard from Destiny.
I mean, it's actually one of the most disgusting things that I've ever heard in my life. My entire staff in my studio right now all gasped at that. When I happened to be at Target, the store Target we were checking out when I saw it on Twitter, and my heart actually sank. And I know that that is the feeling of probably 200 plus, if not 300 plus million Americans, even many of whom would vote against Trump and do not like Trump and all of those other things. The idea that you can't show sympathy or empathy for that is so profoundly sad. I would also add one other thing here, which is that the reason you're so emotive and screaming beyond the Red Bull, and dude, just ease up, man, it's not healthy for your heart, is that you really don't have good arguments. So you're petulant and screaming as opposed to just trying to work things out. We're allowed to ask questions about these things, but I would hope that you would try, as Piers is pointing out, instead of always reaching for the lowest common denominator and they're bad, so I'll be worse, I would hope that we could try to be a little bit better than that. And by the way, I think that you're seeing that right now at the Republican National Convention. They're not going crazy over all of this. They're applauding the fact that Trump's there. They're rallying around the new VP choice. And I think you're going to see a wide swath of America that maybe didn't come out for Trump before and they're not traditional conservatives.
I totally agree.
I think you're going to see them support Trump.
I totally agree. And I would say to you,
okay, so that there is the point, right? Like, I don't care about the bickering with this guy and all the clickbait around that. The point of showing you all of that is that there's something else happening. It's the thing that I've been hoping was going to happen. I'm sure many of you have been hoping is going to happen. It's the thing that brings together traditional, say, religious conservatives and libertarians and disaffected liberals and people who have been completely apolitical and Democrats who are, got a couple neurons firing and all of that. We are seeing it happen right now at the Republican National Convention, and a couple things that are super interesting coming out of California involving Elon Musk right now, and a whole bunch more. We'll get to that on the other side. Let me talk to you about Simply Safe real quick. Guys, imagine a burglary at your home. If you're picturing a shady character sneaking about under the cloak of night, you may be surprised to learn that according to the FBI, most break-ins happen during broad daylight and spike during the summer when more homes sit unattended and days grow longer. That's why you need Simply Safe home security now. Simply Safe is the only security company I trust with my own home and family's protection, offering me peace of mind whether I'm home or away. With fast Protect monitoring and live guard protection, Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm and can even see and speak to intruders to stop them in their tracks. You'll never be locked into a long-term contract, so you can cancel anytime. Pricing is transparent and affordable at less than $1 a day with no hidden fees ever. Simply Safe has been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running and offers the best customer service in home security according to Newsweek. It's easy to install and activate your Simply system in less than an hour, or choose professional installation to have a pro do it for you. Protect your home this summer with 20% off any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Rubin. That's simplysafe.com/Rubin. There's no safe like Simply Safe. And now back to me. Okay, so this wide thing, this is what I want to focus on. Phoenix said to me right before the show, it's almost like my life's work is suddenly all coming together at one moment here, right? This is the thing that we want. It's not oh, conservatives must beat liberals and liberals must be conservatives and Republicans must be Democrats and all of that. It's what returns us to being American, the whole bulk of us. And part of being American, because America is steeped and drenched in freedom, is that we are going to be different. We are going to look different and think different things. But the thing that will bring us together is freedom. That is the glue. It's freaking amazing. And I think we are on the verge of restoring it. However, I just would say that you can't put anything past the system, and we'll see what happens in the couple months before the election. Anyway, yesterday, or as you know, post the assassination attempt, we showed you this yesterday, Elon Musk tweeted this: I fully endorse President Trump and hope for his rapid recovery. Now, it was interesting that he finally actually said it. It has been very obvious. You guys that are watching the show for the last year, we've seen, especially post buying Twitter/X, it's been fairly obvious that Elon Musk was going in that direction, but he finally said it. And you know what happens every time a high-profile person says it, because it's still, even today, it is not the easiest thing. I support Donald Trump. You don't know if someone's going to be angry at you, what your boss is going to say, what your spouse might say, etc. It is important when someone does it. So he finally said it, and then we also showed you this yesterday from the Wall Street Journal. Elon Musk has said he is committing around $45 million a month to a new pro-Trump super PAC. Okay, so the reason I'm showing you that is now the dam is starting to break. One of my concerns around Donald Trump during the primary process, which obviously I was supporting Ron DeSantis, and I'm not going to pretend I wasn't, one of my concerns was, would Donald Trump be able to staff properly, right? Would he be able to get the right mental capital around him, the right people around him, and everything else? And I was very worried about that. I think something's happening right now where people are going to be chomping at the bit to be involved in him helping restore America. So it's not just Elon Musk, now founding partner of one of the biggest Silicon Valley VC firms, Sequoia Capital. His name's Doug Leone. He tweeted this: I've become increasingly concerned about the general direction of our country, the state of our broken immigration system, the ballooning deficit, and the foreign policy missteps, among other issues. Therefore, I am supporting former President Trump in this coming election. And now I want to connect this also to a friend of mine who just spoke at the Republican National Convention, another tech billionaire, the original COO of PayPal, along with Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, the co-host of the All In podcast, who's been on the show many times, David Sachs. He wrote Ben Horowitz, Bill Ackman, Cameron Winklevoss, Doug Leone, Elon Musk, Egan McCabe, Ken Howery, Kyle Samani, Mark Andreessen, Jacob Helberg, Joe Lonsdale, Palmer Luckey, Peter Thiel, Sean McGuire, Trevor Trina, Tushar Jain, Tyler Winklevoss. Come on in, the water's fine. And obviously there's a picture of President Trump with the thumbs up. And the point is, I don't even know all these people, but these are all, or even know of all of these people. I know some of them personally. But the point is, these are big tech people who years ago, largely with the exception of Peter Thiel, because he did support Trump the first time around, these are people who would never have supported Trump first time around, or certainly wouldn't have done it publicly, and absolutely wouldn't be giving money for it. These are not traditional conservatives. These are not sort of Christian conservatives that are calling to reverse the rights of women and gays and everything else. These are all roughly kind of moderate people who now all kind of lean right because the left has gone bananas. And that is the thing that can widen the tent in ways that we probably have not seen in America since around 1984 Ronald re-election against Walter Mondale. So they're supporting Trump because the left has gone insane, and Joe Biden obviously has dementia and is not in charge of this administration. So this is what I have been wanting and calling for and praying for the last couple of years. And I have no doubt many of you have been along that ride and fighting for that in your own life as well. So we'll talk more about that in a second. Let me talk to you guys about BioX4. Guys, we live in the most advanced era in human history. There have never been more medical breakthroughs than there are right now. So why are millions of Americans more unhealthy and overweight than they've ever been? According to U.S. board-certified physician and expert nutritionist Dr. Amy Lee, one of the main reasons is 3 harmful foods that are being passed off as health foods all over the country. And wait till you hear this. Because these foods can cause weight gain, clog your digestive tract, deplete your energy, and wreck your skin. They are banned in other countries, yet shockingly, they're still legal in the U.S. And it's time someone shine light on what they are. Dr. Amy Lee does just that while explaining how the side effects from these foods are wreaking havoc on the health of millions of Americans. The great news is it's easy to stop and reverse this damage by simply learning which foods to avoid and how to spot them. And by doing so, you can experience easier weight loss, smooth digestion, and vibrant energy. To find out these 3 fake health foods, go to 3harmfulfoods.com/Rubin. That's the number 3, 3harmfulfoods.com/Rubin, or click the link in the description below. And now back to me. Okay, so it is not just that a bunch of, wealthy tech people are waking up. It's partly the signal that they send to other people, like, oh, there really is something wrong with the Democrat Party. The radicalness of the left, all the feeling that we all have in this country, like, is this thing that we all know that's wrong, is it ever going to end? Is it ever going to end? Well, now I think we're starting to see like a crack in the distance, and a little light is coming through. And ironically, on the other side of that light is an orange man. And it's not that he will save us, it's that we have to sort of save him to further the crack to open up, because then that's a whole bunch of us. And we will, well, let me put this aside for a second, because people are literally now moving from California. We thought that there was the big move from COVID, but now some bigger things have even happened. Check this out from Libs of TikTok, because California has gone completely insane, and it is a microcosm of everything the left has done. Gavin Newsom signed AB 1955 today, which bans schools from making rules requiring parental notification if a child identifies as transgender. Get your kids out of public schools. That means that if a 3rd grader, let's say a 7 or 8-year-old, says to a teacher, I've been a boy, but now I'm a girl, and I want you to call me Allison, that the teacher not only would do it, but now legally has the right to hide it from the parents. That is completely psychotic. We've all known this was coming down the pike, right? We've covered this story over the last couple months. A lot of people thought that Gavin Newsom was going to veto this because it would make it appear that he was a little more moderate, but no, he has not. Sorry, where are we here? Oh, so Jason Kalakanakis, who's another one of these tech guys, he's on the All In podcast with David Sachs. He saw that headline and he wrote this. So the state is the parent in California now, Gavin Newsom, and then Elon Musk. And here's the big one. This is the final straw. Because of this law and the many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its headquarters from Hawthorne, California, to Starbase, Texas. This is absolutely huge. Then Elon continued. I did make it clear to Governor Newsom about a year ago that laws of this nature would force families and companies to leave California to protect their children. And Elon continued even further. And X headquarters, that's Twitter headquarters, will move to Austin. Now, to connect this to something that I was part of about a year and a half ago when I met Elon for the first time and I was invited to go to San Francisco to Twitter headquarters, I literally told him that he should take the company out of San Francisco. Why did I? Well, I took this video a block away from Twitter headquarters while walking to meet the world's richest man. Try to think, I mean, that day stands out. It was like one of the biggest days of my career in some sense, like getting the call to go meet the guy. But like the juxtaposition of seeing that outside, this drugged, homeless, zombie apocalypse, and then going upstairs to meet with the world's richest man. And then we were up there in his office, kind of corner office, very humble office actually, but nice big windows. And he was pointing out to me and the 2 other guys that we were with, that's where they buy the drugs. Then they do the drugs over there. Then they walk over there. And then that's where they lay for a few hours. Then they wake up, they go back over there to get the drugs. But the point is, whether it is the state now hiding that they will confuse your child about their gender and not let you know anything about it, or whether it's the crazy taxes and it's the crazy regulation and everything else. And now it's just all of the stuff, right? It is all of the stuff that we're constantly talking about, and Elon has just had it. So they will lose more companies, they will lose more investment, they will lose more good citizens who are trying to fix these things as opposed to being on the wrong side of everything, which is where Gavin Newsom lands firmly. Interestingly, about Jason Kalakanakis, who I just mentioned from the All In podcast, another big tech guy, he's a Democrat, basically. Well, then he tweeted this after the Newsom announcement. I am done with California, will disclose my plans all this week. And then a random fan of his, I thought this was interesting, a random fan of his wrote this: there's no way, Jason, I just read your book and you said it over and over. The only place in the world to be as a VC is Silicon Valley, and said, don't even try it in any other place. You have a whole chapter on why it's the only option. And he responded, that was pre-COVID, world has changed. So people are waking up. People are waking up. This is the thing that I have been screaming about. I didn't just scream about it, by the way. I fought for the recall of that guy because of COVID, because of the high taxes, because of all the woke nonsense. And when I realized it was never going to turn around in Cali, I got the hell out. And I just have to say to Kalikanakis, to Elon, to all of the people leaving, welcome to the party, pal. This is awesome. Take your life, take your worth, take your family, and go to a place that it will be valued, because California ain't it. I was in California last week. It takes a lot to get me there, but I thought smoking a joint with Bill Maher was worth doing it. And I went on The Issue Is with Alex Michelson, and he asked me about why I left California. And yes, Gavin the Devil did come up.
And you've had this really interesting journey, starting as a classic liberal, somebody who worked with the Young Turks, talked on the left, and then had moved more towards the right, big Ron DeSantis guy. And I know you were already headed that way, but it seems like COVID really took it up another notch. Can you talk a little bit about your journey?
Oh, sure. It really did. I mean, I was definitely heading in that direction, really leaning on limited government, and that you should make some decisions about your own life. These were the ideas that I was talking about on my show all the time. And then when you and I got to know each other a couple of years ago because of COVID, and because I started very vocally talking about the lockdowns and the ridiculousness of masks and that 15 days to slow the spread, by day 16, I knew something was wrong, because I was watching TV and every commercial was talking about the new normal. And I thought, what do you mean? We were told 15 days and now we're talking about the new normal. That's where I signed the Gavin Newsom recall for the first time. And what was most interesting about that was most of the people that I met at those rallies, they were not Republicans. They weren't even political. They were disaffected people they were business owners. They were restaurant owners. They were people who had just been mugged by the reality of the draconian lockdowns, of locking down the beach that Gavin Newsom did and the rest of it. And I can tell you this very clearly, having moved to Florida, where now there's this huge influx of people from California, and the original Floridians, the OG Floridians, are always worried, right? They're going, oh man, why are you all coming here? You're going to vote the wrong way and ruin this too. Everyone I meet, but particularly the Californians, are very clear on saying they are now Republicans. And the numbers prove that out too, because when DeSantis took over in Florida, there were 300,000 more Democrats than Republicans. As of this week, there are 1.2 million more registered Republicans than Democrats.
I mean, that.
Right, so do you see it, guys? Now something is happening culturally that is bigger than just like the political people waking up to the bad ideas of the left and how corrupt the media is and everything else. It's starting to break in a completely new way, right? Silicon Valley major players waking up to this, and Elon taking more companies out. And the twisted part is Gavin will see this as a win. See, I got rid of Elon Musk. And it's, dude, you know how much tax money he was paying there? You know how many good employees that he has there that have good families, that work hard and do the right things? And now you're just going to have all of the reverse of that there. So Newsom saw Elon's tweet about leaving, and he wrote this. And this even proves the point further. He wrote, "You bent the knee," talking to Elon Musk. And here he is this is a Donald Trump Truth Social post from, what is that, July 16th, 2020. I'm sorry, this is from about a year. Wait, sorry, what? It's from about a year ago. Yeah. So this is from about a year ago. And he's saying, he said, you bent the knee yesterday in response to Elon moving. But this is what Trump said about Elon not too long ago, about a year ago. When Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it's electric cars that don't drive long enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, and telling me how he was a big Trump fan and Republican, I could have said, drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. So here's Gavin trying to get Elon. Now, you bent the knee. But the point is, Gavin, you, because of your awful policies, your insane anti-family policies, anti-business policies, pro-lockdown policies, and everything else, you've now aligned those two guys. You've completely aligned those two guys. And that's everybody now coming to this new party. Oh, you think that guy's You think he's a fucking idiot? I think he's a fucking idiot too. You want to party over here? Let's roll. Elon Musk responded to that and he said, you never get off your knees, which I thought was quite good. But guys, it's not just the disaffected libs that are turning around right now and waking up and realizing how radically out of control this whole thing has gotten. Now massive corporations are shifting tones too. We'll get to that in a second. Let me talk about Morning Kick. Guys, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. He's still in his 80s and he's kicking butt and working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Rubin or clicking the link in the video below. It'll change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Rubin and click the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. And now back to me. Okay, so we get it. Tech people are waking up. People are still moving. We're seeing that separation between red and blue. It's just going to increase and increase and increase. And we will have to decide what makes us the United States. But the whole point of federalism was you'd be able to move within the states and live in a different way with different people rather than having to leave the country. So the system actually is working right now. But it's not just individual people waking up. Now, massive corporations, many of whom have been the prime drivers of this woke nonsense, they're waking up too. This is from Breaking 911. Just in, Microsoft lays off entire DEI team. That's right, the diversity, equity, and inclusion team at Microsoft is gone. We've got some info here from the Daily Wire. Microsoft laid off their DEI team this year, with a team leader sending an email saying the initiatives were no longer needed. The email sent earlier this month and obtained by Business Insider is from an individual whose name has not been released. It is unclear how many team employees were laid off. True systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, said the email, which was sent to thousands of employees, according to Business Insider. The email reportedly said the DEI team was eliminated due to changing business needs as of July 1st. Microsoft appears to have now retreaded at least somewhat from these efforts, and it's not the only tech company to do so. Zoom laid off a DEI team earlier this year, saying it instead would work with external consultants from now on, Bloomberg reported. Google and Meta, which is Facebook, also made cuts to DEI following their 2020 pledges. CNBC reported last year that DEI-related job postings declined 44% in mid-23 from the same time period in 22. By November of 23, the job postings had dropped by 23% year over year. The outlet noted that between 20 and 21, DEI job postings increased by nearly 30%. Do you guys realize how absolutely massive this is? DEI and these woke programs and bringing in engineers based on the color of their skin, or bringing in technical people because they like to have that genital in their mouth as opposed to that genital in their mouth, was never a thing that was going to help you do business. And now these companies realize it. By the way, I think they largely realized it in the first place. Anyone who had a functioning brain at any of these companies knew this made no sense. We're going to hire that electrician because she's a lesbian. Let's roll. It just doesn't make any sense. But they did it for politically correct purposes. Now, years later, it's starting to soften up, right? Everyone's realizing the woke are insane. We're seeing the radicalism of the Democrat Party. They've just embraced all the wrong ideas. And finally, corporations are like, oh, maybe it's not in our best interest not to hire the best people. We have a little more here from Libs of TikTok on what's going on with Microsoft. Just today, Microsoft announced they're slashing their entire DEI program. Now, John Deere says they're done getting involved in woke propaganda activities. Great to see them listening. The tide is turning. The culture war is shifting in our favor because people are sick of the nonsense. And here's the info from John Deere, which John Deere, if you ever to think of a company that wouldn't have gone woke, it seems like it would have been John Deere making trucks. Our customers' trust and confidence in us are of the utmost importance to everyone at John Deere. We fully intend to earn it every day and in every way we can. And then their statement on this: John Deere was founded in America's heartland nearly 200 years ago by an entrepreneur deeply committed to delivering innovative products to his customers. We're proud of this legacy, and it continues to drive us today. We deeply value our more than 80,000 global employees who work every day to deliver superior products to our customers. It takes the best people and the best teams to solve our customers' biggest challenges, to best serve our customers and employees. Deere is always listening to feedback and looking for opportunities to improve. That's why we consistently prioritize internal policies that more closely align our business strategy to meet the needs of our customers. For example, last year, we revised our corporate guidelines to solely focus on sponsorships supporting the business and brand. Our nonprofit sponsorship center on priority areas such as hunger, economic development, poverty alleviation, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, agricultural education initiatives, and support for our nation's service members and veterans. Based on ongoing conversations, we have committed to the following. We will no longer participate or support external social or cultural awareness parades, festivals, or events. Business resource groups will exclusively be focused on professional development, networking, mentoring, and supporting talent recruitment efforts, auditing all company mandated training materials and policies to ensure the absence of socially motivated messages while being in compliance with federal, state, and local laws, reaffirming within the business that the existence of diversity quotas and pronoun identification have never been and are not company policy. We fundamentally believe that a diverse workforce enables us to best meet our customers' needs, and because of that, we will continue to track the advance of diversity in our organization. We remain committed to listening to our customers, employees, and other key stakeholders. Your trust and confidence of us are of utmost importance to everyone at John Deere, and we fully intend to earn it every day and in every way we can. So basically, guys, what led to this was some documents had leaked from John Deere where they were hiring people based on their gender and skin color and the rest of the woke ideology. And then the people who buy trucks and their other products, farmers, etc., were like, this doesn't really make sense. And then enough people pushed back, like enough people pushed back against Target and enough people pushed back against Bud Light. And then things started to change. So it's happening at multiple layers right now. The tech bros are doing it. The corporations are waking up. Microsoft and John Deere, these are very different structural companies, right? A tech company and a physical truck building company in essence, right? These are wildly different things. But everyone's realizing having a bunch of people who are not qualified so that it feels politically correct is not the best way to run a business. Let me show you something that I believe we showed you a few months ago, Elon Musk talking to Ben Shapiro on how ridiculous DEI is.
You know, that theory of power and group identity is really ugly, and we see echoes of it today. I mean, the diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology that basically suggests that all of society is a vast pyramid of group identity, and that at the very top are the people who are successful, and that those people are exploiting everybody else. And we can tell who's successful by their group identity, not by their level of success, by their group identity. Yes. That matches up incredibly. It syncs up almost a Venn diagram circle with anti-Semitism.
Absolutely. The diversity and equity inclusion, I mean, you should always be wary of any name that sounds like it could come out of a George Orwell book. Okay? That's never a good sign. Because it sounds like, sure, diversity, equity, inclusion, these all sound like nice words. But what it really means is discrimination on the basis of race, sex, and sexual orientation, and it's against merit, and thus I think is fundamentally anti-Semitic.
Okay, so this is all good what's happening, right? We've done a whole bunch of good stuff, right? We started with like a lunatic screaming he has no sympathy for a dead man and a potential president almost being shot, but everything else that I've shown you so far in these 40 minutes or so has been good. There is a crack. It is getting wider. It's funny to me for some reason, but it's happening. It's good. So now what will the machine do? And when I say the machine, I mean the Democrat Party and the media. What will they do as they are losing control? What do you think that if it's Barack Obama behind Biden that's running this thing, and Obama's like, oh shit, people are realizing how bad my third term under Biden has been, and I'm not gonna get my fourth term. What will they do? Well, as I've been saying, they will change the rules. They will change there is nothing they will not break in their quest for power, whether that means the DNC changing all of their rules to get rid of Biden, or whether it means changing other rules as it pertains to attempting to change rules as it pertains to the Constitution of the United States. Check this out yesterday, breaking 911 again, breaking Biden to announce push for Supreme Court overhaul, including justice term limits and enforceable ethics code. The president may also call for a constitutional amendment to end immunity for presidents. That's from Washington Post. And of course, guys, we have separation of powers. We have 3 branches of government. If the founding fathers could even envision a president that was 81 years old with dementia now assaulting another branch of government, they would all be flipping their wigs, and they did actually wear wigs. There's a Twitter account called Lawyer Gone Rogue that I thought had some nice analysis on this. He wrote, if Biden is foolish enough to try to impose term limits on SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, he violates the very intention of our founding fathers as reflected in and summarized in Federalist Paper 78. In that paper, the founders recognized the judicial branch as the weakest of the 3 and its role in protecting the people from the unwieldy exercise of power by the other 2 branches, legislative and executive. In that paper, they explain perfectly why terms of SCOTUS justices should be long and not subjected to term, and the only standard for removal should be that of good behavior, quote, good behavior. In short, 1, they wanted to shield the court from the whims of popularity, and 2, they wanted competent judges with long memories, experience, and a fulsome grasp and full canon of the law. No dummies or short-sighted idiots allowed. Thanks, see thread below for details. So in essence, the reason that you would have judges on the Supreme Court for life until they basically can't function anymore, and we've gotten pretty close to that, is that you want a long breadth of work. You want a memory of history, and really because they are focused on the law, not the whims of the political thing of the day, not, oh my God, BLM is popular now, or Hamas rallies are popular now, or this or that on abortion. What we have to focus on are what are the written laws in the Constitution, and we have to apply the legal standards to them. That actually is the greatest buffer against the other 2 branches of government, because the legislative branch obviously can write any law any which way, and then they have to decide if it's actually legal, right? And the executive branch, unfortunately, it's not supposed to write laws, but because we've largely been governed by executive action, that also has become a bit of a problem. Let's just show you Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution right here. This is from Margot Cleveland. No, Biden can't term limit Supreme Court justices. And here it is. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their service a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. So there is nothing, absolutely nothing in the Constitution that says that the president can decide, oh, no, you guys have term limits now. So what is this really about? Well, what this is about is they are losing power. They are losing the narrative, they are losing control, and they're losing it really quickly. And they have 3 months in essence now, till November, to figure out how to rejigger the game. Because a whole bunch of us are willing to play by the rules. And by the way, when you play by the rules, if you accept that the system is good, and this was the danger that these people ushered in, before the woke thing, before the crazy progressives and the socialists took over the Democrat Party, we had largely 2 parties that liked America, but just viewed how to play the game of politics differently, or what the role of government was, or whatever. Then you had one group of these people that came in and said, oh, we are here to burn it all down. We think the whole freaking thing is bad. We don't care about any of the rules or anything else. And then you had another side, largely the Republican side, that said, we have a set of rules. Sometimes we're going to win, sometimes we're going to lose. Again, I'm giving you like blue sky versions of it. It's not everybody at every time. But what we are seeing happen right now is that they are willing to attempt to change the rules mid-game, and we cannot let that happen. I want to show you an interview. This is with Tucker Carlson. This is El Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele, who I've shown you a lot of stuff about, who has completely transformed his country, talking about how you can win by playing by the rules, although other people might not do that.
But you need 2/3 of Congress to fire an attorney general. So we got 75% of Congress.
But you stayed within the rules the whole time.
We have never not respected a single rule. That's also a narrative that they want to. They cannot point out a single thing that was done by not respecting the rules that were written by them, because the rules are written by people. The president of Costa Rica said, "Well, in a soccer game or in a football game, you have the rules and you have the score, right? And the rules are made so the score, will be like that. But sometimes you get a super score in one side, right? So are you angry at the rules or are you angry at the score? Because the president of El Salvador, the only thing he can be criticized for is to getting a huge score in his favor with the rules of the game that they lay out for him.
All right, so you get the point. Here's Bukele saying, we had a really messed up country, but I didn't fix it by burning down the system. We didn't break any laws. We didn't crush any rules to do that. We did it legally within the system. Now, it's fairly obvious to me that the Democrats, because their whole mission, the mission of Bernie years ago, and all of the progressives, and Biden, it's just irrelevant what he thinks because no one knows what's left of Joe Biden. We were sold Joe Biden 4 years ago as it's old Joe, he'll stop all of the crazies, but he's just a sack. He's just a vessel for all the lunacy. So you largely have a party that wants to, in essence, destroy the country. That's not me even editorializing, really. It's what they're telling us. They don't think that this country is fundamentally good. They don't think that capitalism is fundamentally good. They don't think that our founding fathers had the right ideas. Like, that's just all true, their own words on that. So it's not just that they would try to break the separation of powers and the three branches of government. You know what else they'll do? Well, if they see what we're all seeing right now, which is that Biden is breaking down in front of our eyes, and if they feel that people will not support him and we're going to get Trump again, well, they might just change all their own rules as a party as well. Check this out. This is from Ali Vitali. This is MSNBC or CNN? MSNBC, on how the Democrats are trying to figure out how to get rid of Biden at their own convention.
While the Menendez verdict was coming down, I was also texting sources to confirm the existence of a new letter being circulated by congressional Democrats that effectively asks the Democratic National Committee and DNC delegates to delay the virtual roll call process that would effectively make Biden the nominee well before the convention at the end of August. Now, this virtual roll call is not the norm. It's not something parties typically do, but it was put into place when Ohio had a rule on its books about when the Democrats needed to put forward their nominee in order to put that person on the Ohio ballot. But in the intervening weeks since that rule came into existence and really into tension with the Democratic nominating calendar, we've seen the state of Ohio rectify its rules. Now, in this letter, in part, more than 20 Democrats, I'm told, along with my colleague Scott Wong, have signed on to this effort saying, hey, Ohio has dealt with that rule issue. It's no longer an issue now. Let's delay this virtual roll call process that could start as early as July 21st, in the next few days, really. This is effectively Democrats saying, I know that the news cycle has turned. I know that there is attention in other places. But at the same time, I don't want this silence to make people think that all Democrats are on board and behind President Biden. This letter is sort of a way of them saying, Chris, hey, we've still got problems. We've still got questions. And we'd like the DNC to say that they hear us on this and give us the time and the space to parse out our concerns with President Biden before just officially nominating him.
All right, so you guys get it. The Democrats will change all of the rules of their own party to eliminate Biden if they need to. Again, I would stand that in contrast to what happened with the Republicans in 2015 with Donald Trump, when the entire Republican machine was against Trump, right? Everyone thought it was going to be Jeb, ! Or people thought it might be Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, or the more traditional Republicans. But the Republicans didn't change the rules to stop Trump. They ran their nomination and primary process, played within the rules, as Bukele was just talking about there, and Trump was the winner in that. And here we are. The Democrats now, it's not just that they want to break the three branches of government. It's also that they want to break the very rules of their own party, because what they care about is power, period. It's not much more than that. And why are they trying to get rid of Biden? Well, here's a speech he gave in Nevada yesterday. And believe me, there were a hell of a lot of clips we could have shown you of him breaking down. But I don't know, enjoy. What do you even tell people at this point with this guy? Here's a clip of whatever.
I know you say, Joe, you may not have a Congress. Well, guess what? You all told me I couldn't pass the Inflation Reduction Act. You all told me I couldn't face it. Anyway, we did it. We're going to bring rents down, as I said. We're going to build 2 million affordable homes. And cap rent increases of 5% a year so corporate landlords can't. God. Anyway, I don't want to get going. I'm going to get very upset. But they're just gouging America. And by the way, not only saves lives, it will save taxpayers, just what I did on the first round on dealing with Medicare. It saves the taxpayer $160 billion because they don't have to pay these exorbitant prices to these, anyway. Let me close with this. The palm tells us, I've been young and now I'm old.
Is that what the Palm tells us? You're talking about the Palm restaurant? They make a decent ribeye over there. I think he means Psalms, but you can see he's just breaking down. He cannot finish sentences. And remember, he's reading those off the teleprompter, and now he can't even do that. Also, the emotional dysregulation. But the point of all of that is everyone sees it, everyone knows it, and all they're going to be able to do, what do they have? What have I been telling you for months? They have fear. That will be the main thing, that Hitler is on his way. Orange Hitler is coming. And they will ramp up the fear. And I guess I would now add one other piece. They will try to ramp up the fear and change every rule or do whatever to the system they have to do to maintain power. And now we have a very precarious, I would say, 3 months to get to this election because everyone is kind of seeing this. But if you felt sort of inspired by Joe Biden right there, how about this for inspiration? He went to a local deli and just look, like, just when you see the momentum happening right now around Trump, posts getting shot 3 days ago, and the entire Republican convention, we'll get to some video on that in a second, just coalescing around him and this new wide swath of people there. Look at the energy that Joe Biden brings to a deli in Nevada.
Until it's triple what we had over there, and I'm like, oh, we're never going to sell this stuff. But surprisingly, this neighborhood was thirsty for a store where they could get stuff they could get any other part of town that they couldn't get in this side of town. You know, almond milk, just different types of cheeses that we never.
It's really depressing, like, put aside that I don't want the guy to be elected again, obviously, and I don't like any of the policies of the party and all that. It's just what they have done to this man and Jill and all the rest of it. It's just absolutely awful. But okay, let's try to bring this thing around. What is the wide thing happening now? The wide thing happening now is that people are returning to something roughly close to sanity. That there is a way that we used to live, that we could live again. And Vivek Ramaswamy gave an absolutely spectacular speech at the convention, the Republican convention yesterday. I want to play you just a bit on how to be a rebel in 2024.
And our message to Gen Z is this. You're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American. And you know what? If you're at home and you disagree with everything I just said, our message to you is this. We will still defend to the death your right to say it, because that is who we are as Americans. We are the country where we can disagree like hell and still get together at the dinner table at the end of it. That is the America I know. That is the America we miss.
Yeah, that is the America we miss. How old is Vivek? 39 years old, right? So I've got 9 years on him. We're not that far apart. That is the America that I grew up in. That is the Rocky IV America. That is the America that I always say if we could just return to 1995. By the way, he happens to be Indian and everyone thinks the Republicans are racist and he's getting applauded up there. Harmeet Dillon, the wonderful First Amendment lawyer, she gave a Sikh prayer at the Republican National Convention. There are gay people there. There are black people there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And we better just get over all of it because that is the only thing that will save us. Elon Musk saw that and he wrote, well said. So again, it just shows like all of these people that would have not been on the same side, all are aligning. And it does not mean that Elon and Vivek think the exact thing on abortion. And it does not mean that me and Donald Trump agree exactly on this or that or the other thing. But we are all on the same side because we got to defeat that thing. And if we defeat that thing, then we can hash out some of our other stuff. And by the way, the other stuff that we have to hash out, the beauty of America. Again, as I said at the beginning, if we use freedom as the glue of all of this thing, and that's the special thing that America has. It was birthed in freedom, the quest for freedom. Sounds like a Superman movie. What was Superman 4? The quest for freedom? The quest for, give me that. Someone give me, Superman 4, what was it? The quest for something, Superman, he was on the quest for peace. Okay, well, I'm not to the peace part yet. We got to deal with some problems here, but the quest for freedom, that's what we're on right now. And it's going to take a ragtag bunch of people who would not have even been seen in the same place together to do it, but I really do think we can. Guys, my interview with Bill Maher, where I smoke a joint backwards, it's rather embarrassing, but I don't smoke that much, and Bill's a professional smoker. It's up right now across platforms, and we'll do a bit of an extended post-game show right now at rubinreport.locals.com, and we leave you with a certain orange man dancing. Goodbye.